And now we'll just turn it over to Ms. Janina.
Ms. Loretta, I'll start it.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to be pretty informal tonight, so stop us, ask questions. We don't want to just lecture to you for hours and hours. We will try our best to maybe be done by 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest. Sometimes we maybe go a little bit long. So, but just a couple things before we get started into the budget, since we haven't met such a long time. Centurion American has called Kim and they're wanting to do a groundbreaking. They want to do that very quickly. They're wanting to do that on August the 15th. Did they decide at 8:30 morning? At 8:30 a.m. And it's going to be a pretty quick ceremony. I think they just want to put a shovel of, get a shovel of dirt and maybe have a few refreshments and have make the mayor say a few words and some of their staff say a few words and just kick off that. I think they're getting ready to really start their dirt work, so they just kind of wanted to commemorate that with a little kickoff. So
Loretta, they called today to set up a rain date.
a rain day, I don't think there's going to be.
August 29th, but I sure
Okay.
that we're Texas August, no problem.
August 15th will probably be fine.
Where is Centurion here?
It's down our I said Centurion American, I'm sorry, I should have said at Midtown, at our apartments that have been torn down at Midtown. The Centurion American is the developer, and it's their, what do they call it? Their event planning group, and it's called to set that up. But 8:30, you can put that in the calendar, August the 15th, and they said we would just park along Villa Drive. I think maybe they'll have a little tent set up for the refreshments, it's obviously, probably know just about that, there's something, coffee maybe. And then do a little shovel groundbreaking and then have a few comments. And then also we will be asking you all to ratify an equipment purchase on August the 16th. And that is going to be for equipment that we have already authorized the police department to order. And you may have seen some of this on the news, but the protective vests that our officers wear every day do not protect from rifle bullets. They only protect from pistols. And so there is a plate that you can order that will protect against rifles. So what we've done is we've ordered, I believe it was 100 sets. You might wonder that also there's going to be also, I believe there's 15 given to the fire department. You've heard that discussed a lot, that the firemen are also put in the position of needing to be able to respond in these situations. So they're giving the fire department a set of 15 that they can have per shift, and then each police officer will be given, it comes with a bag, it comes with a helmet, and it comes with the vest that will protect from, now they won't wear these vests on a full-time basis because they're very, they're heavier, and it would be, but if they know they're going to a high-risk call or high-risk situation, if they get even a call of a man with a gun, they can stop.
They wear their vests.
They wear their vests
but
all
not
the
this,
time.
not this other one.
This vest, they would have it available, and if they get a call of a man with a gun or shot fired or anything like that, they would have the ability to put these vests on. The other thing we've done, so we'll be asking you to ratify that purchase, and the other thing that we've done is bought, I believe it was, I don't remember the final number, was 7 or 8 shields. If you remember when you saw the officers in Dallas, they were hiding behind cars, they were hiding behind doors. Doors and cars don't stop bullets. All it does is give them some protection from the side or line side. So there are actually shields that you've seen TAC teams use that will stop the rifle bullets. We're going to have one in each of the districts, and then there's I didn't realize this, but you have to have a right hand and a left hand. So we have a few officers that are left-handed, so we had to have another shield in the city that was available so that a left-handed officer could take that shield and have it available with him as well. So all total for the vests, the helmets, the shields, I think it was about $100,000. It was 2 different vendors. One vendor was under $50,000, does not require council approval, and we took some of that out of the police seized assets fund. The rest of it we are taking out of the city's funds, and so we do need to have your approval for the expenditure of that money. I believe that purchase was about $60,000. One was 60, one was 40 something. And so we'll be bringing that for your ratification. We don't do that real often. You'll see us do it with well repairs, and actually we do have a well repair to bring to you. It's not an application, but sometimes you'll see us do an emergency well repair. I talked to Wayne about this before we did it. But in the situation that we're in right now, there is a lead time of about 30 days at a minimum to get them here. And then obviously you can imagine that many agencies are placing orders. And so we actually were able to get our order placed very quickly, got at the top of that list so that we expect our delivery in about 30 days. And we did not want to be on the tail end of a 6 or 9 month back order. So we did that very quickly, not really knowing what our plans were.
Well, I want to thank you for two things. Number one, for having the foresight to get it done that quickly, because we're going to be ahead of so many other agencies now. And I know it was a difficult decision for you, but thank you for making it. And also thank you for making it for ordering some for the firefighters. I heard from Mike Rawlings, and I don't know if this making news or not, but when they were going in, the ambulances were going in with the officers, and the officers were telling the medics, don't go in, you have no protective gear. And the firefighters said, we don't care, we're going. And so we got to have some for them too. So thank you, Loretta.
Well, we do think that that's important for them to have that, because it's like the mayor said, the firemen's going to go one way or the other, so. The well repairs, we have 2 wells that are down, and we have gotten the estimates Chris has for those repairs, and we'll be bringing that for your approval also. That is our Fuller and our Far North, I think I got those right. One, we believe will be an insurance claim, was hit by lightning, and so we'll be able to be reimbursed for the majority of that. That's not deductible through TML. And the other, Chris, that was not able to be tied to any sort of storm damage, so we'll be on the hook for that. And then, let's see, the Parks Master Plan, that is not ready to be presented to you at this time. We're still working on that, so we will either, when that is ready, we will have to make a time to bring that to you, or bring that in our February work session. You'll see that we're asking for money to continue that. He's completed his big overall assessment, he's doing his drill down on the 3 individual parks at this point, but that's not going to be ready for this particular discussion. So you will not see, other than our regular recurring parks improvement money, you won't see anything in the budget for that this time. And then the other thing we're doing that we put a little money in our baseline for is, and again, we'll be working with our director's zone, is a language line. We have many people that will call the city that do not speak English, and we try to get them routed around to someone in the city that does speak Spanish or whatever their language might be. But for a very minimal fee, there's a language line available that you can subscribe to, so that whatever language they're speaking in, you can be able to converse. And what it does, if you don't have that, is it puts a lot of stress on the few people that are able to do the interpretation. And, you know, they may work in HR, their call may be about municipal court, and of course, they don't know about court operations, so this will allow those front desk people to be able to use that language line. So we have included some money in the budget for that this year as well. So anyway, those are some major things we just wanted to hit on about. And Kim, anything else that's been going on since we've been on break that we have talked to them about?
Nothing else.
Okay.
And we have adjusted, we're not this Tuesday, we're actually going to be a week later, right?
Our council meetings will be on the 16th. We have an EDC meeting on the 15th. And the EDC meeting is at 5:30 on the 15th, which is Monday. We have our council meeting on the 16th. And then our second council meeting in August will be on the 30th. Is on the date, right? The Tuesday the 30th. And then there will...
I'll be EDC meeting on the 15th. If I'm not there on time, you guys can still start, right?
Sure.
Okay.
We have a quorum. We have to have a quorum, but we don't.
I just, it's 5:30 meetings, I just can't make it.
If we're happy to adjust those, I would have adjusted this one, except at that point, we had already, by the time we started being issued, we'd already posted the public hearing notice in the newspaper, so I can't. But it's no big deal for the staff to change those EDC meetings to 6 or 6:30 or.
At 6 o'clock I do.
Okay. We're happy, if you just help us to remember to do that in the future, we're happy, we're here, so it's not a big deal for us, so. We're happy to do that, and then, before Janina jumps into, she has all the detailed slides to go through the various funds. I just kind of want to give an overview, so I kind of feel like sometimes you're getting it a fund at a time and a piece at a time. So I want to kind of give you the big picture so that you don't wonder what else is out there, and then Janina will take you through details, and we'll talk as much about the details as you want. But it was a very good year from the standpoint that we have seen lots of new development. That is something we've obviously been waiting years and years for. There was obviously a nice increase in overall values. I would tell you that that's from the perspective of the cities. Last year, we were sitting looking at our property values saying, no way. If you remember, when you looked at the map of the city of Euless last year, the entire map was pretty much a no change, or there were just a couple of pockets that there was actually reduced value, and our average home value actually fell last year. We were saying, how can that possibly be? You had homes that were selling quickly, we had new development, and we just did not understand it. TAG was obviously going through a software conversion. That software that they had, I think, was very dated. I'm not sure, how many years it had been since they had done a full update. Obviously, this year they did, and it produced some shocking results for some of our citizens from what their home values were. I looked through our 14-some-odd thousand accounts, just trying to get a feel for what happened overall. We did have some pockets. There were 3 neighborhoods that I recall in particular that saw some enormous increases. I saw some neighborhoods that actually had some decreases, where maybe TAG had gotten in some of our newer neighborhoods, Miss McCormick's place that developed. I think maybe they had gotten a little overly aggressive. The landing at Bob E, maybe they had gotten a little overly aggressive. And so you actually saw some very large cuts in home values there, but there were other neighborhoods, and one in
What do you mean
particular.
they're overly aggressive? I'm sure.
They had, in those houses were first put on the tax roll, which has been very recently because they're fairly new. They had priced them higher than apparently what the market was indicating. So I have seen those, some of those they had priced upwards of $500,000 to $600,000, and it appears they have lowered those down closer to $400,000 to $500,000. So I saw some very large declines in a couple of those neighborhoods. The one in particular that I remember was Miss McCormick's place and the landing at Bob E.
So like based on asking prices instead of actual sales that turned out?
I'm not sure what they started with originally, but it looked like maybe they had gotten those a little overpriced, and then I'm sure the homeowners have come in, and perhaps as people started purchasing those or reselling them, they have protested those values and had us lower those. What we saw conversely was that many of our neighborhoods increased. Many of them maybe just by a few $1,000s, some by many, many thousands of dollars. One example of where we saw tremendous increases was Trailwood. Now, I would have to tell you though that as I looked at that, and when I say a lot, I mean some of these went up as much as $60,000 to $80,000 or $90,000. And so when you hear that, you think that is just absurd. So I looked into some of those accounts, and what I found were several of those homes in Trailwood that were maybe valued at $140,000 that had been raised to $200,000. Well, I can tell you, I don't think you were going to buy a house in Trailwood for $140,000 in the last 7 years. It just simply wasn't going to happen. And so I'm not sure when those should have been updated and weren't, but obviously they, in my, this would be my words, not someone else's, I think there was somewhat of a catch-up done. Another interesting neighborhood that I saw that had some very large increases was Oakwood Terrace, one of our older neighborhoods, but there was a house that I saw that it had a very large increase, and I looked at it. The house was valued at $50,000. So, and they had raised it to like $110,000. So it was a huge increase, but I can't, I mean, in Midway Park, those homes sell for $110,000, $120,000.
But the rent on your example of 140 to 200, the value can go up that much, but the tax can't go up that much.
No, it can only go up 10% each year. It cannot go up more than 10%. So we can't go, well, there's two things in that. If it's a senior citizen living in there, it's frozen. The tax is frozen. They can value it at $1 million, and that senior citizen is never going to pay another dollar unless they expand it.
But that's a city tax.
That's the city's tax.
Yeah.
The city has done a homestead, or a senior freeze, and we have a senior exemption, and we have a homestead exemption. If it is not a senior citizen, it can be capped at 10% per year, so it cannot go up more than the 10%. What it will show them on their tax bill is their new market value, and then it will show them their new taxable value. The taxable value will be no more than 10% above last year's value, but it will show them that new market value, and they will be able to continue to adjust that home until they get it up to its true market value.
Is that 10% limit true for all taxing entities or just the city?
That, I believe, is gonna be all, because that's a market cap. Yeah, our exemptions, our homesteads, those are ours, but I believe that market cap applies to all entities, which is the 10%. Because it'll show that on your tax bill, your market value, your taxable value, and that's applying to everybody on the tax bill. So we definitely had a lot of increases in our values overall. I think many of those have been allowed to fall far behind their market value. And then certainly those, if they did get overly aggressive on our existing home values, then the folks have a right to protest that back down to what they believe is reasonable. And Tad did indicate that they have had an exorbitant amount of protests compared to prior years, and I'm sure that was because of all of the adjustments. They're still working through all of that. So that's a little bit of a background on that.
Laura, before we get that, I've been reading a few little blurbs here and there about a movement to try and eliminate property tax as a revenue stream for the state, and of course also for all cities. I've never read anything about what they think is going to replace that. Has anybody seen any more?
I've not heard of that effort. I've heard of the
Well, I
effort
know
to
that
limit.
Representative Stickland has been pushing that very strongly.
You know, typically when you go that route, there's a couple of ways that states can recoup the
Income
money,
tax.
and that's income tax or sales tax.
Yeah.
And but I've not heard of that particular effort. I have heard absolutely of an effort to either cap revenues that cities can receive or to cap, we already have a rollback limit, or to lower the rollback limit. And so I've heard of those efforts, but I've not heard one of just eliminated altogether. So I think we also have to have a replacement. So, but
On the property tax, though, isn't the real story that you mentioned with CAD software, isn't that the real story of the software? I mean, last year, the reason it was flat is their software was flawed.
I hate to speak for TAD, I can only tell you that the city of Euless saw absolutely, I won't say no, we saw extremely small adjustment last year, even though we knew our homes were selling, they were selling at prices that far exceeded taxable values. Chris and I went and pulled several of them that were out there for sale and compared them to their TAD values last year, and there were huge disparities in those. So I would tell you that our map showed virtually no change last year, and I would tell you that if you go back to that example in Trailwood, I think most people would tell you haven't been able to buy a home in Trailwood for $120,000 or $140,000 in many years. And so you would notice throughout the years that there might be one or two pockets that would be changed, but most of the city would remain unchanged. And this is not just last year, even the years before that. David would do his map and you would see that most of the areas would remain unchanged, and there would be a little small pocket that would go down and a little small pocket that would go up. And it was like they picked a little area or neighborhood to adjust that particular year, but for the most part, the city would remain unchanged. This year, that's not the case. If you see the map this year, the entire city changed practically. So it was a massive change.
Well, there was some presentation, when I went with you to that mayor's, 6 months ago or something, somebody from CAD spoke, and that was just his thing, he was talking about the software glitch of
They
last
had
year.
huge challenges with their software and the whole cutover thing to the new software. And they're still having them to a degree.
Janina has been attending those meetings, and they will tell you they're making progress and they're getting where they need to be. I'll tell you, I don't think they're there just yet, but hopefully by next year they will be there. I think the software was very old, and perhaps it did not have the capabilities to help them do proper market values. And maybe once you have this catch-up, maybe hopefully people will never see this again. It's obviously not, none of us would prefer to have that one jump in 1 year. You would hope that you would see your value adjusted each year the way it needs to be, up or down, and that you would not get one big giant adjustment. But that's where we are, and we have had one big correction. But that's been throughout.
Their new software also now ties into the MLS system. So now they get real values when a property closes out. TAD now sees what the real sold price was. So that should reflect more of what that probably is what happened in Lakes of Eden. They saw the real price, they added 10%, but that was because they were in Romans. They couldn't get 10% of that price.
And that may be what it was, because I did see that, there was definitely more that went up than down. No, I mean, pretty much the whole city went up. there were a few pockets that went down, but those were more limited, so, with that, I mean, the unique position, and you've seen lots of articles in the newspaper and that where folks came out and said, you know, that every city should be doing a tax cut this year. And I will tell you, this budget is predicated on a 0.5-cent reduction in the tax rate. There may be cities that do more than the city of Euless. But I would tell you, it's important that you look and see where those cities started from. I think the city of Fort Worth is saying that they're going to maybe do 2 cents, is what I last heard. They're at 85 cents. If we were at 85 cents, I'd say let's go ahead and do 5. You know, I really would. And Hearst, I think Hearst is going to try to do 2 or 3 cents based on what I'm hearing.
You're at 60.
They're at
61,
61.6, I think. Those are cities that during the downturn raised their rate from, in the case of some of our neighboring cities, in the 40-cent range up to 60-something cents. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I have to remind you all that we did not raise it. We took over a $2 million hit. We laid off 19 people. We did not, we cut everything we could cut. With that, we said, we have to restore. We will not do it until the economy recovers and we have the ability to restore. But when that time comes, we have to restore. We cannot make these cuts and live that way forever. So I think I am extremely proud of the work of the directors, the administrators, and the finance folks this year in bringing this budget. I think it is an extremely solid budget. We did not go on a spending spree to go and say, you know, just what is out there that we can buy. What we worked really hard to do was to fulfill some of the objectives that we have been stating for years that we needed to do. Number one, first and foremost, we've talked about is staffing, street maintenance, depreciation, that which is the replacement of our equipment. Those things that we have been having to be dependent upon one-time money for, that if there is no one-time money, we will have to go to debt because there is no other option. That things that should be in our baseline. So these are things that we've said, as the economy recovers, this is our strategy, and we've held to that strategy. We've been working this strategy for years. And so we are very, very fortunate this year to be able to do some of those things. And in our mind, that is not growing the budget, it is shifting the budget from an expectation of living on hopefully a one-time or excess fund to putting it in our baseline if it's something that we truly need, and I'll start going through those individually. I told you, we cut, of the 19 positions we cut, those were cut in the FY 2011 budget. As of today, we've restored 6 of those. That was 5 police officers and 1 secretary for the police chief. That's a department of over 100 people that had no secretary for the police chief. Those are the 6 that have been restored today. Of the 5 police officers, we were able to put back 2 in the general fund in 2013, and then we hired the 3 out of seized assets that we've been trying to move into the baseline one at a time. Because seized assets, there was a limited pot of money. We're treating it like a grant, you know, where we will pay for them to be able to get them hired because we needed them so bad. But we have to get those moved into the baseline funding of general fund or CCPD. In 2016, we moved 1 in. We have 1 moved in 2017, and we still have 1 more to go. So.
Can't tell him if he wants to get paid, he has to receive some assets.
and that is, there is some stories about that, but no, we don't do that kind of stuff either. This was one particular deal that we were able to get some money from, and that was awarded legally through the courts, and that's what we've been spending there. So that's the 6.
You're gonna do the 3rd?
Well, we would certainly hope that next year we could get the 3rd one in. And obviously, if the revenue is there, that's our top priority. It's our top priority this year. So that's what we've done this year. That has still left us at 380 employees compared to what we had back in 2010, which was 393. So we said back then, we're not going to come back and hire those where they came from. One of those was an assistant library director. To this minute, I'm not recommending anybody for library. Now, one came out of finance. We never promised that they would go back. We just said when they go back, if they ever come back, we'll put them where we most desperately need them. So this year, we are asking for 6 positions. I will tell you it's really 5, but I will tell you that's 3 firemen, and you have 3 shifts for firemen, so you can't It doesn't really do you good to give them one. I mean, they need three. They come in, you're doing fine, they come by threes. It's kind of like the Arctic seven stew, instead of two, they come by threes. And so we're recommending 3 of those. We are recommending one public works field tech, which they desperately need. We cannot continue to grow a city and not add any maintenance personnel.
Well, plus with the aging as much as we do repairs and replacements and all that, it's still an aging infrastructure.
We have to do it. They just, with the crews that they have, it's amazing what they do now, but it is desperately needed. So we're asking for the public works field tech. We're asking for the athletic coordinator to be paid for by the EDC, which is available to fund parks. We moved our athletic coordinator over to the rec center because they desperately needed a supervisor for the rec center, which left us with no athletic coordinator. And so we're asking for that. And then y'all will recall in this budget year that we had 2 part-time secretarial positions. We got one lady filling that. We told you all we kept losing all of our secretaries, so we've made her full-time, and we're reflecting that in this budget. So that's not really an ad, it's truing up what we had brought to you all earlier in the year, which is she works half the day for Kyle McAdams, she works the other half of her day for Mike Collins. And that
She was
way,
already getting benefits anyway, because
she wasn't as a part-time, and
But
she was.
if she's working 2 part-time.
She wasn't. She
Oh, okay.
was only working 1, and she turned in her notice in addition to the
Okay.
6 prior to her that we had hired. And we finally went to her and said, would you fill 2 part-time positions for us? And then we'll convert you to a full-time position, and she's agreed to do that. So it's more like a job sharing now. But we will obviously eliminate the 2 part-time positions, and we'll just have the 1 full-time position. And she will still job share between the 2 departments. We have included a 3.25% pay plan for our employees in the budget. We think that that will keep us competitive. We are not above. You've seen a lot of talk about Dallas Police and Fire and them being under. I would tell you that we try not to be at the bottom of that. We try to be somewhere between the middle and the top of that when it comes to our police and fire, and we are maintaining that. I've met with both the Police and Fire Association, and I will tell you that they are comfortable with their pay. They're comfortable with our proposal here for the 3.25%. The area that is absolutely killing us, and I do not have an answer about what the future of this holds, and that's health insurance. Our health insurance premiums are going to go up for our employees 14% this year. It should have been more. You will see that we're asking for a transfer from car rental for $350,000 so that we can maintain our fund balance reserves. Our current expenditures are exceeding our budget tremendously. I have invested a good deal of my life the last 10 years in learning about insurance, and I think I have explored with our consultants and with our third-party administrator and everybody out there, every option there is, but without getting on a tangent here,